What's up, everyone? Welcome to another episode of Learn with Jason. Today on the show, we are bringing on just an absolutely delightful human. Jay, how you doing?
Yo, the dream is being fulfilled.
I'm so happy to have you here. We had a chance to connect at GitHub Universe.
Yeah.
And it was so much fun because I feel like we saw each other. We're like, hey, what's up? And then we somehow ended up in this very deep conversation about whether or not you should value yourself, how to charge for your. It was unbelievably good conversation, which maybe someday we should just do a whole thing about that because that was awesome.
That's got to get recorded somewhere. I said a bunch of things. I don't remember all of them, but I think most of them were good. Love yourself. Charge people for your work. If you don't, they will just you'll burn out. Yeah,
absolutely. So with that, let me just give you the floor real quick because for folks who aren't familiar with you and your work, let's hear a bit of your background.
Yeah, so I'm Jay Miller. I'm a soon-to-be staff developer advocate. More on that in the future. I've been in development for 9 years now. I'm mostly in the developer advocacy space, mostly as an automator, script kiddie in the Python world. I'm super involved in the Python community, not just here's how you write the code, but here's how you care for the people. And then last year I became the founder of a cool little project that we're doing called Black Python Devs let's see, how do I explain a community called Black Python Devs? Yeah. So yeah, just doing that. Happy to be here. I do some JavaScript from time to time, not that much. So I'm super excited to learn how I can better talk to primarily JavaScript folks about Python stuff. Also, I know Ben. Hey, what's up, Ben?
Yeah. The chat is already popping off. Looks like people are excited. People have questions.
So we should say first, I'm not Sebastian. So don't ask me questions that Sebastian knows the answer to.
All right. So the chat is ahead of me here. Because they've already shown more knowledge of Python than I have. So today, we are going to dig into, as you said, another framework for JavaScript developers for building for the web. And we're going to talk about that framework specifically, FastAPI, in a minute. But first, I want to talk a little bit about Python, because Python is something that I don't know. I feel like I've always been really close to it, but I've never actually written any I've maybe written one line of Python in my entire career. I've just never landed on it, right?
Yeah.
And so, are you all right?
Yeah, I'm good. Hold on. I have a different cam.
Did it just fall off your computer?
Yeah, it did.
Amazing. That's got to be a first on the show.
Like a pro though, ready to just switch it up and go to the next one.
Oh my God. Well, I hope it's okay. It looked like it turned back on. So.
No, it was my phone. Apparently, these MagSafe holders aren't as good as they used to. I think the glue ripped out or something.
And not as safe as they would. As they would claim.
Mag danger. Let's go.
All right, so Python is something that I've largely been close to, but not actually used. So I want to talk a little bit about just Python in general. Why would a developer reach for Python? Why did you reach for Python?
So I actually reached for Ruby first. Okay. I had questions. I asked those questions, and I was told my questions were too inferior for actual help. I should learn Ruby, and then be like, yeah. So at that point, I was like, all right, I'm done with Ruby. That's not the way. Then I went to JavaScript. I still actually prefer vanilla JavaScript when I'm just doing stuff. If I want to do a thing, I'm just reaching for vanilla JavaScript. Make this button do a thing. Cool, quick script. In script, I don't want the framework. I just want to go into my dev console and knock it out. Mm-hmm. But then I think at the time, this was probably 2013, 2014. So React was just showing up. Angular, I think, was around still. I tried some Angular stuff that wasn't, my jam. React was confusing. I was like, why not just use vanilla JavaScript? And people were like, shush you, we're having fun here.
That is, if that isn't the most like JavaScript developer, shush, I'm having fun.
So then I was just trying to figure out like what's going to be my thing. I was fresh out the military. I was a sysadmin, and I was like trying to just automate some of the stuff that I was doing, some of the day-to-day stuff. And a lot of that was just scraping the web, because it was like, oh, hey, I need to do cell phone orders. So how do I like jump into my browser and do web order stuff? I was also getting into podcasting, so I wanted to do transcriptions. I wanted to do some RSS stuff. So someone was like, "Oh, you should use Python. Python's, super cool and super hot, and that's all the fun, all the cool kids are using it." So I go to this meetup. Actually, hold on, rewind. First, I go into Stack Overflow, and I'm like, "Hey, I'm having this problem, and it's not, I can't figure this out, and it's a super simple problem. Whatever. This is like day 3 of me using Python." And I get the same Ruby on Rails response. So I'm like, oh man, I'm out of this. Like, no, there's no way. I then I see that there's like a local meetup, and I jump into the local meetup. And like, at the time I was in San Diego, I'm in Atlanta now. The San Diego Python community is like, it's got Hall of Famers in it, like straight up. It's got like core devs. It's got, some like Python Software Foundation fellows. It's got the who's who in Python community as like in leadership of it. So I'm like still trying to figure out this problem. And one of the people comes up and is like, hey, you're new. And we just have this conversation. Not only does this person help me with the problem, they also take an interest in the actual project that I'm working on, and like keep asking questions and keep that excitement level up. And at that point, like one of the other folks comes and goes, hey, do you want to go get boba? And I was like, these are my people. Like at this point, I'm like, all right, I'm in. Like, I don't know. You don't know me, but also like you've done all the things by community that just made me really dive in. Yes. And at that point I was like, this is it. This is it for me. And I just kept going with it. And I mean, to this day, it's that same feeling when you go to a Python meetup, when you go to stuff like, it's not just San Diego, it's PyATL, it's Pi Colorado, like that same vibe that everyone there is just super excited that people are in the room and just wanting to learn. And yeah, I mean, honestly, I didn't pick it for the code base, because I would have been banging my head on React still probably, but like the community was what made me really want to stick to Python.
I think that's such a, like, I feel like when a community really understands that, it's such a game changer, because there are different pockets of community across all the different frameworks and languages and different disciplines. And sometimes you feel like the attitude is, we've got the best tech, you're lucky to be here, right? And it's kind of like you talked about, they're kind of standoffish. They're like, that's not a good question, go do some remedial stuff. It's like, geez, this feels bad. And then you talk to other folks, and another community will be like you said, just so stoked that somebody is interested in the same things that they're in. Like, how nice is it that we have overlapping interests, and that to me is like that's the secret to building a healthy community, is just remembering that, like, there was a time when you were the only one that you knew who was into the thing you're into. And when you found somebody else, you were so excited that you had somebody to talk to about it, right? And not losing that as you get more experience, as you get more like, oh, clearly everybody's into this, or you start to feel like, oh, I'm very important because everybody likes the thing I like. Get out of here.
It's definitely that moment of like, when we go to PyCon, when we go to like DjangoCon US or any of these other like major Python conferences, it's like we're catching up with friends. We're not talking about like, oh, hey, did you see the latest framework? Da, 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 da. Like, no one's doing that. We're talking like, oh, hey, man, you just spent like the last 5 years in Alaska and you're moving. Like, what was that like? Or hey, I haven't seen you since. Or I think there was one in the chat talking about Django Girl meetups. I got to do my first Django Girls event as like a mentor last year, and it was so dope of just seeing people who are like from all different career paths, all different walks, some of them still in school, some of them in like elementary school even, and just being like, hey, what do you want to make? Like, it's not let's not focus on the, like, I want to teach you the in and outs of Python. It's like, I want you to make the thing that you want to make. And I want to see that smile on your face when you've made something really cool.
I love that. This description of the community is making me want to become a Python developer. I'm not going to lie.
Hey, we got a home for you.
I love it. Okay, so community sounds amazing. So Python itself can do a lot of things. What are some of its strengths? Like, what are the applications where Python really shines?
It's slow. Oh, no, I'm sorry. I'm not supposed to say that. They get mad at me when I say that. I do want to address the speed thing really quick, because you're going to hear that a lot from people. These are like the naysayers. They're like, oh, Python's slow. Python is like a Honda Civic. Like, straight up. Do you really need a Bugatti? Like, do you need the fastest car on the street? Is a Honda Civic enough? A Honda Civic has plenty of parts out there. It's super flexible. If something breaks, $5, you replace the part and it's there. So many aftermarket parts. It's great. This community around it, fantastic. It's fast enough. Let's not play around the like, oh, but I need 18 million requests per second. No, you don't. You don't work for NASA. You don't work for, you don't need it. So
to be honest, I'm just hoping that I get 18 million lifetime requests on this app.
Exactly. Exactly. So yeah, I want to get that out the way. To me, the thing about Python is that when written correctly, you can walk through it and understand what's happening just by looking at the code. It's written to be, in my opinion, it's written to be read by humans, not by programmers.
I got you.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so so for use cases, like, I hear about Python a lot in like data. It seems like data scientists really like Python. Where else do you see Python being like the use cases in areas where it gets heavily used?
It's where you don't see it. I mean, it is on the web. It's very much on the web. I don't know. There's a small company called Instagram that is a big user of Django and of Python in general. There are a lot of Django sites out there. Django is another web framework. It's a little bit older than, I think it's 20 years old now, or 19 years old. And then there's some other web applications called Flask. Obviously, the AI space is just booming with Python stuff. A lot of that work, because you mentioned the data side of it, a lot of that work was done in Python and still is. Also, I personally like it for some of the automation and hacking stuff. It's kind of like adjacent. I think it's like adjacent stuff. So if you have web with some data, Python's great for that because it's good with data, it's good with web, so it's good with web with data. That's actually what that's how people learned of me in the data, in like the Python space, was I would go find public data sets, some that would make people feel uncomfortable, like, I don't know, police call records in my hometown, and see like what areas, like some of my friends who are LGBTQIA plus, like, hey, don't go to this area because, during this time, they like to call the cops on you. And it was purely like, okay, I can grab a CSV file, parse it with pandas, and then turn that into a quick website or a static website. And then just let GitHub Pages do the rest of the work, or even just let GitHub do the rest of the work and like treat it as a bunch of markdown files. So yeah, I mean, that's kind of where I've kind of fallen in love with it. They're doing some stuff where they're trying to bring Python to the web. I think it's pretty cool. You've also got a few big projects out there, like the Beware project, where the idea is you write Python, you output other languages. So that's kind of a cool little fun thing. Like if you want to write an iOS app, but you only know Python, Beware is making it so that you can write Python and it converts it into, I want to say currently it might still be Objective-C, but I think they are working on some like Swift UI stuff.
That's cool.
Yeah. Android too, for like Kotlin and things like that.
Nice. Very nice. So let's talk a little bit about FastAPI, and then we can probably dive into the code itself. So FastAPI is a I'm gonna take a wild guess here. It's a fast way to build an API using
That's-
Python.
That's what we're doing. That's what we're doing. Someone was asking how do you spell it. It's B like the animal, where. So yeah, add just another E in there and you're good to go.
Like that?
No, two E's. Two E's. BEE.
Oh,
where.
like the beware.
Yeah.
Beware. There it is. There's beware.
Yeah, perfect.
I like that.
Yeah.
I like it. Please tell me that it's got a very cute mascot.
Absolutely. And you can get a challenge coin if you make your first contribution at PyCon US, which is happening in May, and I will be there. So yeah, if you want to come say hi to me, you'll find me.
Very cool. Excellent. All right. Okay. So let's talk about FastAPI.
Yeah.
Let me just start with, like, at a high level, what is FastAPI?
So yeah, I mean, you got it right. It's the newest of the web frameworks. I call them the big three. Like the big three are Flask, Django, FastAPI. FastAPI is the newest, which is why there isn't a 0.1 yet, or a 1.0 yet, which was one of the questions earlier. It's been around 5 years now, maybe just 5 years. I know there's like a running joke from the creator, Sebastian Ramirez, who was like, people are saying, hey, we want FastAPI developer, people with 5 years of FastAPI experience. And this was back when FastAPI was 3 years old. So, the recruiter's going to recruit. But ultimately, the thing I like about it is that it is, people are just spoiling all the fun stuff. And don't look at the comments. It is an easy way to build APIs, but you can also build other things. Obviously, it was built with the intention of building APIs, which is why, we're going to use it today. And a lot of the features that come with that are nice. Think about the things that you would like with building like a REST API. Like think about, you want documentation, you want solid endpoints, you want good status code support, all of those things. You want good validation. It partners really well with another tool that we're going to be using called SQL Model, which is also created by Sebastian as a part of this. And that is also built on yet another tool called Pydantic, which allows for a ton of validation stuff. So if you say, being pedantic about things. So yeah, if you want, like, I want this field to be an email field, or inside of my data, I want this to be an email. There are like 15 ways you can do that. So at the end of the day, you're like, what if you could just say, hey, this field, it's an email field. And now it's like, cool, you've already got a lot of those built-ins already designed in your API of like, I'm expecting this to be an email. I'm expecting this to be a valid email. Otherwise, you're going to get weird validation errors. Or I want this only to be an integer. Like, you don't have to do the like client-side validation, hey, if this is in A through Z or whatever, like just, hey, this is an integer. And it's built off of typing, which is new to Python. It came around the same time that FastAPI did. And typing in Python is optional, except for when it's not. and I say that in that typing is relatively new. It's a very hot topic. Typing is what you should do in Python if you are using a modern editor, if you want to, you get modern features and modern benefits, and ultimately if you want to better understand your code.
Sure.
You don't...
So,
oh, go ahead.
Does typing in Python work sort of like TypeScript and JavaScript, where it's an additional thing, or is it built into Python itself?
It's built into Python itself. There is a typing module that does some greater typing things. And that was kind of how they integrated. Originally, it was like, it's this thing you need to import. And over the next few versions, we're going to be slowly integrating it into the system. We're 5 years from that now. It's pretty much integrated into the system. Because of when FastAPI was built, there are a couple of things where we're going to import typing just to have them instead of using the built-in Python stuff. But ultimately, you're not gonna get the TypeScript, like, you didn't define this, so therefore now everything is broken type errors that, you're not going to get that in Python for the most part.
Awesome. All right. Well, so let's see. Is there anything else that you want to cover in the abstract before I switch us over and we start writing some code?
So let's just talk about what our goal is for this. Yes. We're gonna try to build a Cool Points API. So at the end of this, you and I, well, because I'm guessing you're going to be doing the driving here.
I'll be doing the driving.
You will be able to add people to a database. We're just going to use SQLite. We don't need to get fancy with it. And from there, you'll be able to add cool points for when, maybe you can even remove cool points. We'll say add/remove cool points. Jay's camera just flipped off the monitor. Let's remove 3 cool points. And then we can maybe talk about some next steps from there. And hopefully in the future, maybe I can learn some JavaScript so we can actually add a design to the cool points and maybe turn it into a full-fledged cool points app.
Absolutely. Yeah, that feels like a great follow-up. And this is going to be great because, like I said, I've written almost no Python, cool. And I've seen a little Python. So getting through this syntax is going to be an adventure together. This is probably going to be the most challenging Learn with Jason that I've ever done because I'm literally wading into a new language.
Hey, I am your Sherpa here to ferry you up the mountain of Python.
I'm pumped. I think this is going to be so much fun. So let's switch over to here.
Oh no! Don't go on there. Jeez, what is that? Get off that.
And so first and foremost, this is Jay's site, which
you're freezing again, man.
I'm freezing again.
You're freezing again.
I've never frozen in my life.
You've frozen. You're freezing like an early 2000s Batman movie. Like what's going on?
Oh, chill out. Okay. So we're talking about Python. So here's a link to the Python site. I luckily found out right before we started this call. I do in fact have Python installed on this computer, which was great news. We have FastAPI here, so I'm gonna drop a link to FastAPI. And then we were talking about Beware earlier. I dropped a link earlier, but this is the site, and there's that cute mascot that I was hoping for.
Absolutely.
So, for someone like me, fresh to all of this, what's the first thing I should do?
All right, so if you don't have Python installed, it's going to depend on what operating system you're using. If you're using Mac OS, I would probably recommend using Brew. Some people don't like using Brew. Brew install Python is just the fastest way to do it. You can install it directly from the website. That is an option, but then you got to do other stuff.
Looks like I did install through Python.
Yeah, you installed through Brew. There are some other tools. Someone mentioned PyEnv. I do use PyEnv as well. You don't need PyEnv unless you're working with multiple versions of Python. So like if you're a package maintainer, Anaconda is another way to do it. We're not going to be talking about Anaconda. Anaconda is Python with a lot of features added as well. It's very popular in the data science community. It's one of those things that if you're learning Python, you either learned it the pip way or the Anaconda way. I learned it the pip way, so sorry. I've got no excuse other than that's how I learned it. So yeah, you're gonna do one of those things. Yeah, it is also very large. I'm going to stop looking. I love the comments. I'm going to stop looking at the comments for a second because otherwise my brain will start breaking. All right. So the first thing that we're going to do, because this is this is just a good best practice. Mm-hmm. We're going to create a virtual environment. And what that means is, so JavaScript has this local context of packages that can be installed. So I can install a bunch of packages inside of one project, and that doesn't mean that other projects have access to them.
Okay.
Python has this ability, but not by default. Okay. if you install a package, you're installing it for your entire Python ecosystem. Sometimes that's good. Sometimes that comes with conflicts, especially when you have to worry about versioning. We're not doing any version stuff. You're just going to install whatever the default is. Okay. So there are two ways you can do this. You can do this in the terminal, or you can do this with VS Code. I will say let's do it in the terminal, since you got the terminal open.
All right.
You're going to do Python -m.
Do I need to start? Do I need to create a project first?
Yeah, you probably should.
Okay. So
I saw VS Code window and I was already like, oh, we're here. we're already in our project.
Okay, so I'm gonna just get in it this, and so this gives us just
nothing.
An empty
Just Git.
empty folder.
Yep.
All right. So, whoops. Now I'm gonna. You said Python
-m.
M.
Yep. And then you're going to do venv, and that's for a virtual environment. There's also a virtual env. There is a difference. I don't know the difference, so don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Someone's going to come for my head later. They're going to tip. Well, actually, this is how I do it. So then you're going to throw a space in there. And then you're going to want to do, let's just do .venv, because that's what VS Code would be looking for.
Okay.
And then just press enter. And it's going to do some stuff, and it's going to look like nothing changed. But now you see this .venv file. If you jumped into there, you're going to see a bunch of files. Basically, it's like a Python subversion, like that's just in there for you. Loving that background. That's dope. Clean.
Thank you.
So
all right.
clean.
So now we have our actual project open here.
Yep.
All right.
Let's open up a terminal really quick. I just want to see if it auto-detected. It didn't. Okay. Here's the other way to do it. And the reason why I want to say the other way to do it is if you're using Windows versus if you're using Mac OS or Linux, your virtual environment steps are going to be different. I don't know the Windows ones. I'm a soon-to-be former Microsoft employee that doesn't fully know the Windows commands. It's fine. So let's just open the command palette, Command-Shift-P.
Command-Shift-P.
And then you've already installed the Python extension. If you haven't installed the Python extension, this isn't going to show up. You'll want to install that. And then you see where it says Create Environment? Go ahead and hit Create Environment on that. Yep, venv, we've already created it, so just use the existing one. That's fine. If we had like install requirements file, it would already do it. What is PowerShell? Should anybody learn it? You should learn PowerShell. I know more PowerShell commands than I know like command line commands. And it's going to be doing all the same stuff. Close this terminal, reopen it, and we should see. Oh, actually, I think we already saw it. Okay, yeah, we already saw this venv on the end there. Mm-hmm. Tells us that we're in that virtual environment. If you do which Python, or like you did before. By the way, you just do which Python. Don't add the 3 on the end. Oh, Python's not found. What? What did you do, my friend? Okay.
I don't know what I did.
That's fine. That's fine. It'll be okay. Do which pip 3. Okay. Oh man. Okay, this is gonna be fun. I'm just gonna have to remember, if I say pip or if I say Python, just add that 3 on the end and we'll just go from there. It'll be cool.
Fine. Yeah. Okay.
You'd have to do like some brew doctor, brew install stuff. Yeah, it's a whole thing. Yeah. All right. So I'm basically doing all of this stuff just to get our environment. This is the mise en place type thing. We're going to install a couple of things here. We're going to install FastAPI and we're going to install SQL Model.
Oh wait, somebody's saying that if I go into my venv activate,
it should already be activated.
I don't have one of those. I don't even have that.
No, it's already there. If you do source.venv.bin activate, it's already activated. I mean, you can type in Python and see if it's going to work, but I would rather not just like stick here doing Python things. Oh, okay, there we go. Cool. It did it. Sweet.
Wait, now do I get regular Python too?
Yeah.
Hooray! Thank you, kind internet stranger.
Awesome. You win. You win. You've won the internet. The hero of the internet today. All right. So yeah, we've got to install things. We install things with pip. It's just going to be pip install. And then you're going to do, we're going to do FastAPI, and we're going to cheat because FastAPI has another version of it that installs everything that we're going to need. You're going to want to put this in quotations. Nope.
Like all of FastAPI?
All of FastAPI. Okay. FastAPI. And then you're going to add a bracket.
Curly, pointy, square boy.
Square boy. Square boy. And then you're going to type all. And then close that square bracket and that quotation. This is going to install some extra pieces that we need. Sometimes you don't do if you're doing stuff in production, you kind of want your packages to be smaller. You know, that's cool. And this is installing all the stuff that it's going to need. We do have to install SQL Model as well. So we're just going to do the same thing, but instead of FastAPI all, we're just going to do SQL Model. And that doesn't have to be in quotes, but if it is, no one's going to complain.
Like that?
That's it. And then just enter. Yeah. Cool. And yeah, you're gonna get, if you choose the Python life, you will be very familiar with a new release of pip is available. You can't keep up. You can only there's always an update. It's always an update. All right, so we've done everything that we're going to do for now inside of the terminal. Let's start scaffolding our project per se. Okay. And you're a right side explorer person. That's fine. I was too. And then I gave up because I can't find it. So
I'm like a right side and hidden most of the time.
Yeah. I'm hidden left, and then sometimes I'll move certain things over to the right.
See, I can't do the left because it bounces my code back and forth.
I have so many windows open, it's gonna bounce either way.
It was already over.
It's a Pong match. So we're gonna create a folder, and we're gonna call that folder API. We could do all the stuff at the root. We're not going to. I'm trying to teach good practices here. So inside of that, we're going to create 3 Python files. You don't need to create 3. We're going to create 3. We're going to call one app.py, and then we're going to call one models.py, and we're going to call one db.py. And the reason I'm doing this is we're basically just separating our concerns. Your app is going to be just the FastAPI application. It's going to be how we handle routes and how we do stuff in there. Your models are going to be what are the models that we're creating that our DB is going to interact with. And then DB is going to be basically all of our CRUD. It's going to be our create functions, update functions, and all that fun stuff. Again, this is how I do it. Other people might do it differently. Luckily, they're not on this stream. So, oh well. So let's start in models, because models are going to be the things that we're... So let's go for circular imports. I don't know that answer. You got some people asking good questions. I just don't know the answers to them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure there might be. All right, so the first thing that we have to do, just like in JavaScript where you require, like you add all your imports, all the modules that you're going to do, in Python we import. So we're going to do this. All right, we're going to do from instead of import.
Python does it the right way. From thing, import.
Import this. Yeah.
So much. That, like, I wish JavaScript would have gotten that right. Because autocomplete actually works when you do it this way.
Yeah. And I mean, anytime you say, I wish JavaScript would have gotten this right from Python, I'm just going to nod and agree. Absolutely. So you can do import this, but when you do import, it grabs everything.
Oh, okay.
Sometimes that's useful. Sometimes it's not. For what we're doing specifically, we're going to not. So from SQL Model. Oh, sorry. Yeah, no, that's right. From SQL Model. Pilot on or not, which is fine if you do.
I don't have Copilot on. You also, I think you froze. I don't think it was me. Sorry. So from SQL Model, and then I
Import.
lost you. Import.
And the only reason I was wondering about Copilot was Copilot would just offer up a bunch of things that I'm like, yeah, this usually sounds good. So we're going to import, what was it? Item? Not item. We're going to create a class called item. We're going to import SQL model. It's going to be capital SQL. Perfect. Does FastAPI have its own ORM? SQL model is the ORM designed for FastAPI, but it is not specifically for FastAPI. It can be used with FastAPI. And it uses SQL Alchemy. Basically, SQL model is Pydantic plus SQL Alchemy all smushed into one class, which is great. So yeah, that's what we need. Comma field. Yep, capital F. Something you'll learn about capitalization in Python. So capitalization does matter. Usually classes, which are similar to JavaScript classes, those are capitalized. Everything is like camel case, or not camel case. Which one is the one that you start with a capital letter? Pascal cased. Functions, variables are usually lowercase, and they use underscores. So
snake case, which is fitting for Python.
Yeah, we
you
like.
Want to know what my favorite thing is? So if this is snake case, this is screaming snake case, and that's one of the funniest things that I've ever learned about programming.
That's for constants. Yeah. Everything in Python matters, and not to question it. Indentation matters.
Trust the snake.
Yeah, for those that don't know, Python is not named after the snake. It's named after Monty Python.
Unfortunate for all of my jokes.
Yeah, so there are a lot of references to Monty Python in documentation. You'll see stuff. It used to be called the Cheese Shop, like Pip, where all of the stuff is in PyPI. It was called the Cheese Shop. You'll hear references to silly hats and stuff. So yeah,
I love that.
Yeah, there's a lot of comedy.
I just realized as you were talking about references that I forgot to tell everybody that we've got live captioning on the show. So Amanda is here with us today from White Coat Captioning. Thank you so much. You can find that. There's a link scrolling along the bottom of the screen right here. That's if you need to.
That wasn't me.
That was I just managed to flip the cord for my headphones onto my soundboard. That was not. Sorry, that wasn't like a sad trombone for Amanda. I don't know.
Oh no. Well.
Okay. Well, good for me. Okay, so so the live captioning, it's happening right now. You can go check out the link and see everything that we're saying is being typed by a live human, Amanda, who does not deserve a sad trombone. That is being made possible through the support of our sponsors, Netlify and Vetsu Code. Thank you very much for making that possible.
I'm a proud member of Vetsu Code, so shout out to the crew.
Absolutely. What a great bunch. Okay. So with that, we're back. We are looking at our code. We've imported the SQL model in the field. We now know that Python is a Monty Python reference and not a snake reference. So I'm throwing out all my material, and I'm ready to build an API.
All right. So now we're going to create the model that is for our cool points. So I guess for this API, what data do we want to store? I'm guessing do we want to store like the people that get cool points?
Yeah, right. So we'd probably want, like if I was going to model this, I'd have some kind of unique identifier, whether that's, a generated UID or an email, some kind of like human readable identifier, like their username or first name, and then the cool points themselves.
Okay, that sounds cool. All right, so let's create a class. Yeah, perfect. Cool people, why not? There you go. You've already adopted it. And then we're going to say that our class inherits from that SQL model. So that's going to, none of that.
Whatever I'm doing. Just stop what I'm doing.
Get rid of that space there as well. So we're going to do open, what was that, parentheses? Yeah.
Round boy.
Round boy. Yeah, that one. I don't know what I call these. I was like, this thing.
I know that, like, in my brain, they didn't have names until Cassie Evans came on the show and was like, open a curly boy. And I was like, oh my God.
Yes. Yes. Curly boys for the... I have a live stream where we try to auto-detect curly boys because there's like this... Python has this F string thing that like you can do like F quotation marks and then like curly braces and then a variable, and it'll reference that variable directly. And we were trying to do, well, what happens when you need to inject curly boys into curly boys? So that like, how do we do that? And ultimately we spent like 3 hours of just like, it takes like 6 curly boy pairs. It's really fun. And in the end, we just decided that the curly braces will for now and forever be known as curly boys with an I. Because of course,
yeah, of course with an I.
Of course with an I. Anyway, round boys here, and we're gonna add SQL model to that. Yep, okay. And then we're gonna cap this off with a colon at the end. Boom. All right, new line. It's already indented for you. Is that 4 spaces or 2? Okay, change that to 4 spaces. This isn't JavaScript.
It doesn't have to be 4?
It doesn't have to be, but it has to be because.
Wait, how do I do this? Indent using spaces.
You're probably going to have to go into the settings.
Workspace settings.
And
let's go tab
size. Yeah.
Tab
4.
size is 4.
What?
What's happening?
Cue the Russell Westbrook meme. Like, what?
Okay.
That should be right. Let's modify it elsewhere. Huh.
Modified elsewhere. No, I want you to do exactly what I'm saying.
Just do 4.
Here we go. Give me that.
Yeah.
Give me that setting. And now this should be overridden.
Yeah. So in Python, it does matter if you're using tabs or spaces. You can use either as long as you do it throughout the entire code. Otherwise, you get this weird mismatch error that like we use spaces. 4 spaces is what's canon. We just use 4 spaces. All right. So now we talked about you need an ID. So let's just make an ID. That's going to be perfect. I feel like you're doing the colon thing because it's natural.
Because I'm JavaScripty.
That's good because normally you wouldn't, but in FastAPI you do because it requires types. So we're going to give the type for this. The type for this is actually going to be it's typing dot optional. That's going to be lowercase. Optional is going to be uppercase. And I want to see if we go look at that little squiggly error there. Yeah, import typing. Boom, perfect. Yep, it knew what to do. We could have done that. This is like the one thing in Python, in like FastAPI typing that I don't like because we've gotten away from importing typing from stuff. There's an actual, you can just do a straight line, like a pipe, and that does optional, but FastAPI doesn't support it because it would break a bunch of back code.
Oh, okay.
So you have to do typing optional for this. Then we're going to do a square boy. And this is an integer. I mean, it could be whatever. We're going to pick, nope, just int, int, sorry. And then we're going to do space equals. And this is going to be a field. So it's a field, that field that we imported. Let's open a round boy. Yep. And our default's going to be none. And I will explain this later. You're going to want to do default equals none. Yeah. Comma. What is it? There's a thing here. Goes and checks notes really quick. I'm forgetting what it's called. It is primary key, and that's going to equal true. Yep. Python capitalizes true and false. We say it with our chat. Yeah, just that part. We also forgot to do one thing in that class up by SQL model. Add a comma.
Here?
Yeah. And we're going to say table equals true. And this is a FastAPI-ism.
Okay.
Well, it's more of a SQL modelism. All right. So what did we just write here? So we're saying this ID is our primary key. So this is going to be our unique identifier. The fact that we defined it as none's capitalized, by the way.
Ah, okay. I was like, why are you yelling at me?
Yeah, it's capitalized. And you can remove the spaces around that. That's
the Python way is no spaces?
No spaces inside of calls, but
Okay.
as assignments, there are spaces. And again, all of this is optional. It's not required. There's this phrase. It's a very dirty phrase. It's called Pythonic. When someone tells you your code's not Pythonic, you have my permission to tell them their face isn't Pythonic and then just keep walking. I've had so many people have stopped using Python because before someone answered their question, they heard, well, your code isn't really Pythonic. So I am like doing my best to ban that phrasing from my lexicon. Anyway, so we've basically said this is going to be our primary key. The fact that we assigned it as none means that by default, it's going to be empty. Once we save and commit this to the database, we're going to let the database side of this handle assigning that key. It's just going to auto increment from 0, like 1, 2, 3, yada, yada, yada. But if we specify that this isn't optional, that means we always have to provide a key. That means we always have to be in the business of assigning what the key is. So,
which like you could do with, there's probably a UUID library or something, so we could you know, quickly generate one, drop it in, etc. But it's kind of nice to not have to think about that, especially for something like this where what we're doing is, you know, this isn't an auto incrementing key is fine.
Yeah, perfect. All right, so now we're going to go to the next line. What else did we say we needed? We needed
we needed like their name, and then we wanted their cool. What's is it? Snake case for like a field name or?
This is an attribute, so it'll be snake case. Yeah.
Okay. Do we need anything other than that?
I think that's all we need.
Yeah, well, I think that's good.
Yeah. So yeah, someone's asking about auto incrementing. Doing this will auto increment once it goes to the database side. We don't need to worry about auto incrementing on our end. All right, so name, that's probably going to be a string. Naming is hard. We don't have to do typing. We just do str. str for string, baby. That's a built-in Python type.
Much easier.
Yeah. We don't even have to do field.
Oh!
Because it's required, we're not going to give it an assigns value. We're just going to say name string.
Nice.
FastAPI will say, hey, that's got to be a thing. Cool points is interesting. So we could give it a default of 0 and just say like, you're going to start with 0 cool points. That way we don't, like if we're creating a new person, we don't have to do that. We could also start with any number, but we don't even have to do field. That's the beauty.
Oh, okay. So you just start it with 0, like
just equals 0. Yep, that's it. The only reason we're doing field is because we added the primary key stuff.
Oh, I get it. Okay, so you only need field if you're doing something
databasey.
Yeah, special.
Yeah.
I got
it. And this is it. This is it for models. This is our model.
I'm very happy with that. Like, you know, the thing that I like about this, you mentioned earlier that when you write Python, that it feels human readable, and this. I mean, obviously, there's some stuff that's computer sciencey in here, like knowing that int is short for integer, str is short for string. So, like, beyond that, though, I don't feel like I'm looking at anything wild. And my basis of comparison is that the only other language that I've tried to learn recently that wasn't JavaScript is Rust.
Of course, it had to be Rust.
And when I learned Rust, I felt like a lot of times what I was looking at in Rust, I was like, I don't actually know what I just typed. And with this, I feel like I know exactly what I just typed. That's not a knock on Rust. It's just a positive thing for Python.
I'm just gonna sip my.
just very.
There's a lot of. Right, again, this whole like Python being a Honda Civic thing, a lot of people are like, but we could make it a Bugatti if we just did, it's this Python thing, but with Rust. So every time I hear that, I'm just kind of like, sips sips drink, and every time someone says Rust, it's like drink. All right,
This is a good joke. If you start with 0 cool, will there be a crash override later?
I don't get it. I'm guessing this is a video game reference.
It's from the movie Hackers.
Dang, I haven't seen that movie in so long.
A minute, yeah. I watched it during the pandemic. We decided to give it another watch, and it doesn't hold up, but it totally holds up, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. All right, so
Don't knock the Honda Civic. Fair enough.
don't knock. It's a great. I'm not knocking it. It's a great
No, I
car.
think that's the whole point. Is like I think if you get a Honda Civic, you will never have to think about a car for the next 250,000 miles.
Exactly. That's why you pick Python. All right, let's go to the next one, and let's do. I'm trying to think of the right way to explain this and then make it better. Do we put all of our... I think we put all of our stuff in app.py, and then we're going to move some stuff out of app.py because I want you to get, minimum time to like, oh, wow, it worked to do that. All right. Okay. So we're going to, from FastAPI, we're going to import FastAPI. This is a pattern that you'll often see Python modules do. There's usually some like big class or big thing that is named after the thing. Okay. And then from SQL Model, we're going to import. I'm trying to remember what it is now. Is it engine? Is it serve? Is it... Let's see. From SQL Model, we're going to import session, and we're going to import create engine, and we're going to import select. And I can't see what you're typing now. So, yep, that's it. That's good. I love it. All right. So let's start by creating an app. We're going to just say app equals FastAPI.
Okay.
And we're gonna add some round boys to the end, and that's going to initialize a FastAPI instance. So Python has this thing called a decorator. Mm-hmm. Packages love using decorators. If you're writing your own Python code and you're reaching for a decorator, think about what you're doing.
Consider your choices.
Yes. Sometimes you need it. Often it is used in conjunction. Decorators basically add functionality around a thing that you're defining. So like, hey, I'm doing this thing and I need to like add some zhuzh on it. Like that's when the decorator comes in. So what we're doing is we're going to define routes. We're going to define like patterns of things that will happen. And we're decorating them with the way that we want to interact with those patterns. So for this, we're going to do an @ app .get.
Okay.
And then we're going to add some round boys. And this is going to be the path to where we go. So like perfect. And then we're going to go to the line below it. And we're going to define our def space. Let's just call it hello world. This is a function. So when we do def is like function in JavaScript.
Oh, I got you. Okay.
Yeah. So perfect. Let's add.
I wanted to add some curly boys, and I know that's not allowed.
No curly boys. That's for something different. We do need to add a colon at the end, though.
Okay.
All right. So for there, we're going to just return something. So we're going to do return, just like you do. And this is where the curly boys show up. So FastAPI, we're creating a REST API, and most REST APIs are either text or JSON. By doing this curly boys, we're telling it we want it to be JSON.
Got it.
We could add some sugar on the end and say like, oh, we definitely want this to be JSON. Do some JSON stuff. FastAPI takes care of that for us. We don't need to worry about that. So this is a dictionary. I think it's called a hash in JavaScript. It's like a key value pair, basically.
I would just call it an object. It might have a real name.
Yeah, I don't know. You're probably right. I don't know. I don't do JavaScript. All right, so let's add just a message as the key. and the value is just going to be hello world. And both of these are strings.
Oh, got it. Does single versus double quotes matter in Python?
No.
Okay.
Again, someone just tilted their nose and complained. Double quotes is kind of the standard, but single quotes work too. You're not going to get yelled at for picking one of the other. What you will get yelled at is if you do like one somewhere and then a different one somewhere else.
Just mix them just to like get somebody to twitch.
Oh yeah, that's everything in my body wanted to jump through the screen right there. Like it wasn't even. It was like that's messed up. All right, so this is a FastAPI app. This is really cool. Let's add a little bit of sugar to it though.
Okay.
Below the def, below our function call here, right in between the return and the def.
Got it.
Let's add 3 quotations. Perfect. And in there, we're going to put outputs hello world. This is a doc string. Actually, this isn't a doc string. Yeah, this is,
like a block comment.
Exactly.
Because I can I can break it up like this, right?
Yeah.
So I've seen these before in the GraphQL schema language. They use the same like block triple quote.
Yeah, and single line comments are just hash, octothorpe, that whole thing. Yep, boom. Yeah, cool. Also cool. All right, so let's run this. Let's just see how we run this. So we're going to go into our terminal. Because we have to start a web server. We can't just do Python. We could do Python app.py. It won't do anything. Mm-hmm. What we need to do is we're going to use UVcorn. UVcorn is an asynchronous version of GUnicorn. I don't know if you're familiar with GUnicorn or not. It's like running npm serve or whatever. Same thing. We just have a bunch of them. UVcorn is the one that comes not built in with FastAPI. FastAPI installed it for you when you did that all thing.
Got it. Okay.
Cool. All right. So we're going to type UVcorn, like unicorn with a V. Perfect.
And it knows this without me having to do like a Python something?
Yes, it's using a namespace thing.
And that's because of this venv?
Yes.
Got it. Okay.
Perfect. If it didn't, you would have to do Python space -m space UVcorn, yada, yada, yada.
I got it.
Yeah. I'm trying to make it simple.
No, this is super helpful actually, because I would have done it the hard way and been like, man, Python's hard.
Some people, so when I'm writing code, I do it the hard way just out of pattern. Some people say you should always do it the hard way. I say I just want people to be excited that they wrote something. So let's just write it exactly how that works. Someone tried to cheat and say main colon app reload. That ain't it, because we didn't call our project main. So we're in API. It's actually going to be api.app app. And then let's do a -- reload. Why not?
And that's just gonna like live watcher kind of thing.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Application startup complete. We should see port 8000. Yep. Let's go. Let's open that up and see what happens.
Localhost 8000
needs more quotes, I think.
Hey.
So yeah, you got that. And you got a little fancy tool that gives you all the stuff.
This is a little extension I installed to pretty up JSON, because I show a lot of it on here.
I like it. I need the name of that extension. Let me write that down.
That is a great question.
JSON prettier extension. Not the extension prettier, because I know prettier is its own extension.
I legitimately don't know what this one is called.
We'll find it later.
JSON viewer.
JSON viewer. Perfect. All right. So here's that moment of wowness that's going to pop up. This is the first wowness that I really like about FastAPI. So you're at localhost 8000. Go to localhost 8000/docs. Boom. All right, now open that. Let's hit that little get menu right there. Output hello world. Tells you if there were parameters that you would need to add. And you can just take it from there. I'm trying to see the look on your face. That's
How dare you? Like, come on. How many hours of my life?
right. So
geez.
yes, FastAPI has built-in Swagger.
Swagger Open API.
Yeah. And you can modify this too. You can, I believe there's another version of it that you can include. It's like in that FastAPI call that we did, app equals FastAPI, you
Right.
can provide some other bits and pieces to say like, hey, I want it to look like this. I want the title to be this. I want the color scheme.
Yeah.
So like you can design that to be what you want. But yeah, to me, this is the biggest advantage to picking FastAPI when you're building an API.
That's a huge advantage because this is the reason that I think a lot of people have strayed toward GraphQL is the sort of auto documentation when you use GraphQL. This with the because OpenAPI is dope, but you still have to kind of like maintain your OpenAPI.
Yeah.
So knowing that doing something like this is going to auto maintain your OpenAPI docs for you, that is slick. That is very, very, very cool.
Yeah. It also allows you to try out your API quickly. Like if you hit try it out, like it's going to give you the response that you're looking for, which is great. Just hit execute and boom, like, hey, you see your headers, you see what your request is, you see the response,
dope.
You can quickly just start troubleshooting stuff. And there's more to this, and we'll go to it in just a second. All right, so we've done a simple thing. You know what live reloading looks like. We don't need to change world to JSON and make it change to hello JSON. Let's add another route here.
Also, did y'all see that the comments we wrote just showed up
Yeah.
here? So like we can add our own documentation about what this. It's so good.
That also supports Markdown.
Okay. Hold on. That I do want to see live reload.
Okay. He says unsure of himself now.
Oh my God. Okay. Pack it up, y'all. Like this is it. This is what I've always wanted. I'm gonna have to learn Python now.
That's the thing. All right, let's add another route. Because let's go adding points. So we need to add people. So let's create another route. This one's going to be a post because it's not a get.
Oh, right. It's a post.
Yeah.
Right. And this would be like people.
Sure. Yeah, I like that.
All right.
And then, we're going to define.
If I can, oh my goodness. There we go.
Yep. So now this function call that we're doing, I'll let you finish your adds of people. I like it. You forgot your round boys in your function.
Round boys.
And we're also going to give it something to add. So at the top, we're going to need to go reach for that model. So we can do from model import cool people. Hey, speaking of, we've got the creator of FastAPI in the chat. What's up, Sebastian? I hope to see you at PyCon this year. It's going to be a party.
I'm sorry for what I'm doing to your framework, Sebastian.
Sebastian's good people. I have some wonderful photos of myself and Sebastian. We need to go get drinks next time though. That was my only complaint. We did not drink together. All right. So when we go to add people, we're going to import those cool people into there.
Okay.
And that's just telling the API that like, hey, we need cool people for this call to work, which is a good lesson in life. So now let's do some databasing stuff. So we need to scroll back up to the top. We're gonna do a call in between app and that first decorator there. We're gonna do an app thing as well. And this is going to be called. We're
doing an app thing, not.
Yeah, so we're going to do that decorate. We're going to do that decorator again. It's going to be app.event on event. Boom, and that on event is startup.
Is it in quotes?
It is. Yes. Okay. Sebastian, if I get this wrong, just yell at me. Why are you mad?
Deprecated lifespan.
Okay, so let's check the docs on this, because I often don't create the database on event anymore. This is the thing that we're going to be moving into DB to do its own thing. See, on event.
Lifespan.
Okay. What are we doing here? This is async context, async def, lifespan. Okay, I mean, but you're making us do async stuff. And then we're passing lifespan equals lifespan. Okay, that makes sense. I can explain that. I can explain that without hurting myself. Copy and paste that code, and then we'll make some changes.
And I need this context lib thing also. Wait,
yeah.
Where am I?
Yeah.
Where did I go? Here we go. There's code. So we're gonna go here.
Sebastian says just use event.
All right, let's just
use event.
You got it. You got that written. This will.
Yeah.
Because I'm also a little worried on time. We got like 20 minutes left.
Okay. We're gonna speed run this. All right. So we're gonna create a new function, def. There's no tab in there.
No tab. What am I doing?
Tab.
Def.
That's okay. Yeah. And we're gonna just say create session.
Create session.
Yep.
Okay.
And now we need to add. What are the words that I'm thinking? We need to create the engine here. So we're going to say engine equals create engine. Boom. Okay. And then let's do return session. Oh, did I freeze again? Oh,
No.
Okay.
It's just me
Checking the chat.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then the session is going to be that engine. So we need to do a couple of things here. Yep. Boom. So inside of that create engine, we need to give it the path. We're using SQLite for this. So this is going to just be the pattern for SQLite. We could do in memory. It's better if we persist it just so that we don't have to keep recreating them.
Sure. Yeah.
So let's just do inside of quotations. We're going to do SQLite colon. There's one L in SQLite.
Oh, right. Yes, I remember this. Okay, SQLite.
And then we're going to do 3 backticks. Oh, sorry, not backticks. What are those? Slashy boys.
Oh, yeah, these. Oh, wait, what am I doing? They're these ones.
Yeah, that one. And then we got to name our database. Let's just call it cool people data. I don't know, whatever. .db.
Okay.
All right, awesome. Also, Sebastian said that the lifespan API will improve. Hey, that's awesome. I want to keep an eye on that. Maybe I can contribute. I haven't contributed to FastAPI yet, so that's on my list of things to do. All right. So now that we've created this session, we're going to use this session to see. This is where I'm getting a little confused on myself, because we have to pass that session in.
Yes.
I don't think we return session here. I think we return nothing. See, this is why I don't like the startup events. Sebastian, I don't like the startup events because of this reason. Put the engine outside of that function.
Just out here?
Just out there in the wild. I love it. And then do session equals session that engine below it. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I like it. Yep. All right. And we'll keep that for now. I might be missing something, so we might come back to that app on event thing. I normally put this in a separate module, which is why this is messing me up.
Okay.
And then normally I would just import session, and then all of my database stuff is in db.py. So let's scroll back to our post people here. And in that code, we're going to say with, I don't even think we got to do session. We don't have to do the with because we don't need a context manager. Just do session dot add. Yep. Boom. And then we need to pass in the cool people.
Okay. And that was going to be name. And to start, we
just need to pass cool people.
We just need to pass cool people.
We just need to pass cool people.
Like that?
Yep.
Okay.
And then below that, we're going to do session.commit. Perfect. And then let's return. Let's return another dictionary there. Yeah, and we'll just say message success.
Oh, right. Quotes.
Yep. And then let's add a comma, new line. And then person, cool person or whatever you want to label it as. And then that's going to be cool people.
Okay.
All right. So what this is saying is we're gonna require cool people being added. So that's gonna need to be added.
Okay.
I actually think that you can't just call cool people and where it says add people. I think you need to do like add and then just do like cool people cool people. You need to tell it what it is. So at the top, not in that one, in there.
Oh.
Yeah. We got to tell it what cool people is. I would also make sure that, because you're going to run into a namespace thing, do like just lowercase it.
Okay. That's for all of these, right?
Yes. Because what you're saying is this instance of a cool person, I mean, you could even call it a cool person, because we're just adding one cool people. Hey, Patrick Arminio, you mentioned GraphQL. Patrick Arminio is like the GraphQL guru in the Python space.
Nice.
Absolutely knows the thing. All right. Cool person. Yep. I like it. Let's check the terminal, see if it's working.
No module named models, which means I did something wrong.
No, put a period in front of that models. Oh, no. Get rid of that period. We're going to create another file. This file is going to be empty intentionally. Inside of API, it's going to be _init_.py. And that just means that now you're able to traverse through this folder and call any of those dependencies.
Oh, I got
So
it.
app
now
should
you're
work
happy?
now. It should be happy now. You're going to probably need to close this call since it errored out. So just do, yeah, you know what to do. It still did
like
it. Add a dot there. And that's just saying, hey, that's going to be a local version. Boom, there it goes.
Startup complete. Okay.
Yeah. All right, let's reload.
So now
We have people.
We got people.
And
I
look,
want to try it out.
it'll give you, it'll tell you what you need to add. So you can just say J. 10, yep.
Okay.
Success.
Oh, wait.
Internal server error. What's this error? Go back into VS Code. It'll tell us what the error is. Oh, we didn't create the metadata. This is a metadata thing.
Okay.
Cool. So underneath that create engine, we're going to do SQL Model dot metadata dot create underscore all, or
like that.
checks code, and you're going to want to do engine inside the curly boy. Where are we at here? That looked good. Okay. So now the thing I'm worried about is, did it save that? It shouldn't have saved the database because it shouldn't have been able to create the database. And all that's doing is that's just building that table out and providing all of the metadata stuff.
And I should leave the ID out, right? Because we want it to auto increment for us.
Exactly.
Okay, so I'm going to do that, and then I'm going to execute, and it says success. Hey, but it didn't give us back our.
It didn't give us the cool people. So this is a thing that I have seen. This is in the FastAPI docs. It's because it is reaching, I believe, for that value before it was saved.
So do we? I mean, I'm kind of okay with that. Can we?
That's fine. Yeah, that's
can
fine.
we just do like a load people to?
Yeah, Let's just do a get that shows all the people.
Okay, so I'm gonna just set up a get people, and let's see how far I can get here with my newfound Python skills. I'm going to say session get all no all.
I can help you if you want me to help
No,
you.
I
on
need you to
this.
help me. I don't know what the
Okay,
autocomplete is here.
so session requires, by the way, I think you left the comment on the screen. Session in this case is we're going to actually have to provide a statement. I don't believe there is a like get all cool people. But you need to add, you need to tell it what we're going to be referencing. So it needs that import in depth. Yep.
What would it? How do we do this? Is it like all?
You just say just all people. Well, I'm
this
wrong.
gonna
I'm
be
lying
like
to you.
a-
I'm lying to you right now. We don't need
Okay.
that. We don't need
Okay.
that. I've written this code before. Opens it, looks at it. Okay, so what we're gonna do, I need to go into this. All items. So we need to create a query,
Okay.
and then we need to execute that query.
Okay.
The query is going to say select, and then we're going to call cool people.
Like that.
No, you don't need the round boys inside of in there. You do need it around select. You don't need it after
Oh,
cool
I see.
people.
I see.
Yep. And then we're gonna do session dot exec for execute, and then we're gonna pass that query in.
Okay.
And then at the end we're gonna do dot all. And we
Is
might
that
want
called?
to. It is yes.
Okay.
And let's save that as items. So let's say items equals that.
Okay.
And now let's return items.
Okay.
And we want to put that in just so that we keep the JSON pattern going. Let's put that in. Yeah, you can just say people colon items. Yep.
Okay. All right. So now out here, I've got get people. I'm going to try it out. And we get back.
Yeah. We
There
get back
go.
our people.
All right. So let's try this one more time. We're going to add another people. And for this one, we'll drop out the ID.
Yeah.
Maybe, oh, wait. I have to try it out first.
I do wish
Try
there
it
was a way. Maybe this is like an issue thing that can be filed of like, if we're doing that, if we've already defined it, maybe we say don't include optional values or something like that.
Okay, so then if I clear and I execute again, there we go. We've got two peoples.
Two peoples.
Is this legible for everybody? I just realized it's
Yep.
kind of small. Okay, so look at that. We've got CRUD happening.
Yeah, and you've done things too. It's not just we've got a bunch of get calls. You got a get, you got a post in there. If you wanted to do like a put, you could say, put to update a person, and then you just need to pass the ID in. You also can check out the schemas here, so you can say like, hey, here's what these look like.
Yeah.
And you can rock from there.
I mean, this is like extremely cool that to test this API, I'm just using the auto-generated like browser open API docs here, because otherwise I would be in my terminal trying to remember curl commands, and then like it just kind of becomes a whole thing, right? But the
Opens
fact
up Postman or something. Like,
yeah, right. Like the fact that, and like all those tools are great, but it is really nice that I'm defining my code, and then I just switch back over here, reload the page, and off we go.
Yeah.
Like that's pretty slick.
Yeah. So we got 10 minutes left. Do we want to start wrapping, or do we want to figure out? You need cool points. We gotta get you some cool points.
All right. Well, what do I do to get cool points? Because I'm currently in the negatives.
Let's just do a put, and we'll make it's a simple update. Update user type situation there. And yeah, some folks are talking about other API tools. So they're similar. DRF has something similar, but it's not Swagger. You're right. I forgot what it's called too. Marshmallow I've heard of. I haven't played. I think I've played with Marshmallow for like 5 seconds. I haven't played with it that much. I was talking to someone last night who may or may not be in this chat about doing this. And one of the things that we talked about is if you're trying to figure out who you're going to pick, you're probably going to go with the one that has the most community and the most documentation around it. Sebastian has done a phenomenal job of creating an amazing documentation spec. The docs for FastAPI make a bunch of people jealous because of how well defined they've been, and they've been since day one. So I would say if you're wanting to go with a community, go with a community that's going to have good docs, go with a community that's going to have a bunch of blog posts and people writing content on it. FastAPI, you can't go wrong with. Django, you can't go wrong with. Django is where DRF comes from. That's Django REST framework. Django's a little bit more magical. There's a lot more it's like Rails, in my opinion. You don't necessarily learn Ruby, you learn Rails. Right. And Rails has some Ruby stuff. So Django, you learn Django. Flask, my quote for Flask is Flask doesn't believe in magic. If you like magic, Flask will punch you in the face. Yeah. Flask is like that person at the bar where you're just like, everyone trusts Flasks. A lot of people use Flask. It's probably the most popular one. Flask is a no magic, like no BS. You define everything we do here. So this is a good medium between the two. All right, so we're gonna do one thing different with this. We actually have to define because we're doing a put. We have to know where to put it. So
so we got to decide which people.
Yeah. So inside of that route, we're gonna put people / and then what we would want our people ID.
And this is like the standard placeholder. Did I do that right?
No. No. You're close though. And by close, I mean not at all. We're going to bring more curly boys into the mix.
All right, let's get some curly boys in here.
All right, and then we're going to call an ID. So, and let's call it item ID. I like it. Well, not
What's the
not
Python way.
Like that. And then when we do update people, we're going to require that item ID is defined, and that's going to be an integer.
Okay, so item ID integer.
Yep.
Okay, I'm ready.
And we're going to need to also require cool people as. Oh wait, no, we don't. We don't need to do that. What am I doing? I keep telling you this, and it's not true. I'm lying to you, and I apologize.
You really want cool people.
I really just want cool people. I really just want cool people. Okay, so let's just copy all the stuff we did above and get people.
Copying.
Yeah.
I'm doing it. I'm ready. Yeah. I imagine this is the one that changes.
Actually, it's the one before that. We're going to do some simple database stuff here. So we're going to do select cool people, all that stuff. And then at the end, we're going to throw a dot on there and say where. Oh, someone asked about my old mic. I used to have a microphone with the Chaotica eyeball on it. And the argument was that the mic was as big as my head because it actually was. I actually sold that mic. I gave it to a friend of mine who's getting into music production, and I wanted to help get him off the ground. So I gave him that mic.
We're using SQLite for the DB.
We're using SQLite. You could use Postgres. You could use MySQL. It's using SQL Alchemy in the background. So a lot of this stuff wouldn't change. The only thing that would change is the URI that we pass in, and that would it. Yeah. Okay, so where ID is equal to item ID. It equal to item ID. Yep.
Like so?
Yeah. Yeah.
Nice.
We type how we type how we talk. You can't use Redis, but there are other tools that you can use that allow you to use Redis. So that's a thing. Okay. And then instead of all, we're going to do first.
Okay.
And go to the create, because we do have to add cool people here, because we have to tell it what to update. I'm so confused on how it doesn't know what to update. Oh, it does. Okay, it does. Sorry, I'm looking at my notes, and my notes are very different. So we're going to say item ID, and we're going to do a comma. This is up at def update people. So line 44. Is this fast? It is fast, and it is API. And then let's do person equals cool people.
Like that?
Yep. So yeah, now we're selecting cool people. Okay, and then we're going to do. So we have item, because that's not really an items anymore. So just item.
Mm-hmm.
And then below that, we're going to update the item itself. So we're going to say item equals person. Yep. And then we're going to do session dot commit. And I just want to double check this, make sure I'm doing all the stuff that I did. Oh, of course, because I turned it into another function called update item, and then update item does. Yep, item equals this, item equals that. Session dot add item. That's not supposed to happen. And we'll do session dot commit. We might have to do session dot add item if it doesn't work, but let's try it like this.
Okay.
If someone in the chat is yelling, hey, you're supposed to do the add item. We're using SQLite. You could use Postgres. It would be the exact same code. So,
so let's
you were 2, I believe.
getting all my people. I am ID 2.
Yep.
So let's see if I can try this out. And then my query is going to be...
Oh.
Right, we probably want to update just the cool points, right?
Yeah, let's just update the cool points.
Okay. And so my item would be...
Oh, how will we update the cool... Oh, I guess that would just be a body.
We would just put in like the cool points, right?
Yeah, just cool points. And that's going to be an integer, right?
An integer.
Yeah.
And then my item, can you just do like item dot cool points?
You can. I'm glad that you did that on your own. I love it.
Cool points equals cool points. And then that should theoretically update.
Yep.
All right, let's give this a shot.
If it doesn't, we can do
right down to the wire. Here,
an
we're
add
gonna
there.
we're gonna pull this off. Okay, so trying it out. 2. I'm gonna add 2 cool points.
Okay.
We're gonna execute.
Do we get an error? We got an error. What's the error?
The error is, let's see. Where got an unexpected keyword argument of ID.
Huh.
Does it need to be quoted or something?
No, that's my fault. I lied to you again. All right. So change where.
Uh-huh.
And just get rid of all of that. just all that in.
Get it out.
Get it out of here. All right. Then throw a comma after cool people.
Here?
Yep. And then do item ID. And we're going to do, instead of select, we're going to do session.get. And then we're going to delete that item. We're going to make that item what query is currently. So query, yep, boom. You got it.
Clean.
This is,
all right, here we go. Try it out. 2, 2.
we're
go.
at time. What do we do?
We're at time. We updated. Let's get all people. Try it out. Execute. And look at me. I'm back into the positive on cool points. We've done it. Everyone, right on time. So with that, let's give people additional resources. So we've been playing with Python today. This is my first ever Python app. Very, very excited about that. This is FastAPI, which is what we've been using today. So make sure you go and check that out.
Yep.
And we've been learning with Jay. So make sure you go give a follow on all the places. Jay, for anybody who wants to continue, are there any other resources you recommend for folks?
I mean, for FastAPI, I'm going to just say check out the docs. Like, the documentation is bar none, like the best. Like, arguably one of the best pieces of documentation in Python. I would just say keep making stuff, build stuff that's cool. I definitely want to learn how to turn this into an actual project, so maybe you can teach me something.
We'll do an exchange. I'll come on your stream and I'll teach you how to do the
I love it.
part.
I love it. I don't have all this fancy stuff. We're just
It's all right. There's zero
down and dirty where I'm from. This is
Look, I'll throw my phone on the floor on your stream.
I love it. That's perfect. That's perfect.
All right. So because we're out of time, I'm going to kind of fast version this. Thank you all so much for hanging out. This episode, like every episode, has been live captioned. We've had Amanda here from White Coat Captioning. Thank you so much. This is made possible through the support of our sponsors, Netlify and Vetsu Code. Thank you so much for supporting and making that possible. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure that you like the videos, subscribe, tell your friends, because that's what interests sponsors in making this show possible. And make sure you're checking out stuff on the schedule too, because we got all sorts of fun stuff happening. We've got a good one next week. We're going to learn about Million, which is the new compiler for React. We're going to learn, I don't know what Gen AI is. People keep saying the word. Adam Cowley's going to teach me what it is. So we're going to see what that's all about in a couple weeks here. Jay, any parting words for the chat?
I'm loving the shade that I got where it's like we should pull in Jay for a weekly code stream to rebuild his site. I mean, one, I would totally be down, but also Jay built his own static site generator that powers his site. So, yeah, if you really want to dive into Python and bang your head against the wall, yeah, check out Render Engine. That's a fun one.
Love it.
But no, that's it for me. Have fun. I'm glad you got Chance on the coming up. Chance is the homie. Chance is also in San Diego. So
yeah.
I've asked Chance about the Friendly, one of the best burgers in San Diego.
Yo, I was in San Diego, and the first thing he did was take me to Friendly's, and burger is the truth. It is
no
so good.
joke. It's down, it's dirty, it's perfect. Ann's dry cleaning is right around the corner, which is the best froyo place.
Oh, it's not dry cleaning.
It's not dry cleaning. It's ice cream.
You can go get your clothes cleaned up.
No. It's gelato. I'm sorry. It's gelato.
Even better.
But it's so good. And they do tastings. So
I love it. I love it. Awesome. All right, y'all. Well, we're going to call this one done. Thank you so much for hanging out. We will see you next week. Take care.